Let's talk about the New Republic for a minute. Since Star Wars began to expand from the original film to an array of spin-offs in various media, there's been a disconnect between Star Wars fans and Star Wars itself. Now, I'll nerd out as much as anyone on continuity and what hyperdrives or the Force canon can't do, all of that. But we also have to remember that Star Wars was never meant to be a rational and believable world. It's reworked Flash Gordon. Simplistic duality of good versus evil and variable physics are baked into it. Later layers of complexity are built on that foundation. That means that the politics of Star Wars are defined less by its own internal lore and rules and more by the cultural assumptions of the day. It's extremely malleable, which is why I'm impressed with what they've done in The Mandalorian. The uselessness and the nuisance factor of the New Republic started to become clear in this scene from Season 2.
This is Razor Crest. Is there a problem?
We notice your transponder's not emitting.
Yes, I'm pre-Empire surplus. I'm not required to run a beacon.
That was before. This sector is under New Republic jurisdiction. All craft are required to run a beacon.
It made sense. The Republic is still fighting Imperial remnants across the galaxy, and fighting wars takes money. They're squeezing revenue everywhere they can and becoming a gaggle of meddlesome nags in the process. But now in Season 3, we see how far the rot has proceeded. The New Republic is a shield for Imperial warlords, a jobs program for criminals and incompetents, a cash cow for defense contractors, and a tax scam on the galactic population. It has a law enforcement agency planning crimes and recruiting people to carry them out. The Republic manufactures dissidents to incarcerate, captives that it proceeds to torture, but not before redefining terms to sanitize it. There are unsubtle echoes of the FBI in Republic security. In short, the New Republic reflects the sorry state of our own tottering Republic. I'm less interested in the franchise's internal consistency than how its changes reflect the wider culture. Star Wars first appeared in the late 70s at the peak of the post-World War II cultural wave. The space Nazis were the bad guys, and the rebels were good, noble, and representative of the highest ideals of Western Enlightenment liberalism. The first wave of Star Wars books, starting with Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, built on this, depicting the New Republic as a political entity with its share of problems, but overall an honest administration with ideals of justice and liberty that it takes seriously. The Republic responded to the threat that Thrawn represented in ways that made sense within its context of a new but competent government. Now Star Wars is coming back to a reimagining of the Thrawn storyline, but the cultural assumptions are no longer defined by the idea of good governments led by good people fighting the forces of evil, but instead is defined by our own real experience of government authority. Capricious, inconsistent, and often incompetent. Of course, it's not just the Republic. Andor shows us the Empire in the same light, with a legal system focused not on justice, but on filling prisons with cheap laborers, which is taken directly from the current American system of for-profit prisons and the leasing of inmate labor to private companies. And it reflects our own partisan politics. We believe that Party X are the good guys to Party Y's dark side, but in practice both deliver largely indistinguishable abuses of power. The establishment always sides with itself above any ideology. It's going to be interesting to see how the reimagined Thrawn story plays out in the context of a corrupt, inept, and uninspiring New Republic. Because if the character is remotely true to the portrayal in Zahn's novels, a ruthless but honorable and politically naive military genius, it'll be hard to say who the real villains are. The New Republic, so far, hasn't shown itself to be worth defending.
This is the way.